Another thing to strive for is keeping your geometry organized. On this model here, it's a kind of a generic female body that I came up with to illustrate the way I would approach topology on a low polygon model. This is uh, just a little bit over 3,500 triangles, which I think is, a pretty decent amount of polygons for uh, kind of on the lower end of what a lot of normal map characters are these days. But the reason why I wanted to show it was to talk about how the distribution of polygons should be pretty even and neatly ordered when possible. I mean, your edge loops and your edge rings, they should all be more or less straight, if you can. This just makes things more predictable for um, when you go unwrap the UVs, and also when it's rigged. If you look at this, the UVs for a second here, you can see that it's when your polygons are pretty much square and your lines are pretty straight. It's pretty easy to see when things are being laid out well. If things look more like this, then you'd be able to tell at a glance that, hey, there's something wrong here. Just an easy way to uh, help identify problem areas before they become um, too big of a deal. And the same thing goes for rigging. If just as an example, um, if these lines weren't as straight as they are, let's say you had something where actually, just a second. Let's see. If your geometry was a little bit messier, let's say it was kind of wobbly like this, and I've seen some meshes that are kind of like this. It's like you get so into the retopology, just drawing lines out that, and you're not really thinking about how neat you're being. If you were to deform this right now, I mean, it still deforms okay, I guess. But when you're skinning this and when you're painting the skin weights, sometimes it can be hard to tell. Like, why is this vertice up here and not in line with the other ones? Is it because the geometry was drawn out that way, or is it because this vertice has some weird influence and is being pulled more by some other joint that it shouldn't be? Just to keep things very obvious and easy to work with for everyone. Keeping things neat and organized and very even, just helps everyone. So, another thing to keep in mind is when you keep your geometry more even, it kind of lets you get a better idea of how to optimize your mesh. You're not trying to put too many polygons in areas that don't matter. I mean, there's some parts where you always have more polygons, such as the face and the hands. But you should always make those polygons count, make them matter. In cases in other places where they don't matter, then you shouldn't use it. Um, Down here on the calf, you don't see me putting too many divisions going horizontally, just because I know that the lower leg doesn't twist the same way that the forearm twists. And if I had fewer polygons here, if I got rid of some edge, something like this, and then I twisted it. You know, things get stressed a lot more if it doesn't have enough polygons. So, you know, just because the silhouette looks like it doesn't need a lot of polygons, you know, you have to keep in mind how things are going to deform, and that will kind of dictate how many polygons you need. And you know, having some rudimentary rigging knowledge is pretty useful for character artists. You know, just so you can set these things up yourself um, and test out deformations on your own. I'm using a free auto rigging script right now to generate this. You know, pretty easy to use. It's something worth looking into.
Another thing I almost forgot to mention is that you should keep the orientation of your geometry more or less perpendicular and parallel to the flow of the shapes. And what I mean by that is, for example, like the arm is going down at this angle, and you want your divisions to be going perpendicular to it. One of the easiest ways to make enemies with your rigger is to do something like this, where you've got your divisions kind of going all over the place like that. Definitely keep it oriented to the mesh when you can. Again, it's just a matter of making it more predictable for rigging.